rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, you all may hear noise in the background. That is the landscapers out there. They just started working, okay, unfortunately. Now, with that all being said, let's see who's in here. Let's see who's in here. All right. Juju, Desmond. Okay, let's get into it. All right, Cookie, we the people. KQB Fife. All right. Trisha is here. Chris B. We the I'm sorry, I said we the people. Chili Willie from Philly. Trail Black Barbie doll is here. Keith Steele. All right, let's get into it. Ashkan. Okay. Andrea is here. 504 Nola. Deborah is here. Just Joy. Okay, so hey Cookie, I see you, beloved. Candy is here. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal roads and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Leon and Dangerous. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Joan. So before we get started, hey, Queen Shay and Edward L. Before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Kratz. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now with that all being said, let me just tell you all there is a controversy that has started, and this church is under fire. Okay, it is Mount Olivet Church in Kentucky. Now, the reason they're under fire is because the pastor thought, for whatever reason, it was a good idea to have this unholy skit performed at Bible school. Okay. Now, when I was a kid and I went to vacation Bible school, I remember that we made, things out of macaroni that we glued to like paper plates and whatnot. And we did crocheting and things like that. And we read the scripture and we played games and such. But at their vacation Bible school, they thought it was a good idea to have people come in fatigues, okay, carrying these air rifles that looked pretty real, and to perform an execution of the devil himself in front of the children, while the children yelled in unison, "Take him out, blow him up." Now, like I said, people are very upset by all of this, and I don't know what they were thinking, but the pastor has come out and spoken on it after all the controversy ensued. And he pretty much, understands that people may not like it, but he thinks he did the right thing, clearly. Okay. And so that all being said, let's get ready to get into this because I find it absolutely nefarious. Okay, Trisha said I like Vacation Bible School. Honey, I did too. I loved it. Okay, I absolutely loved it, especially the food and snacks. But anywho, let's go to a clip. Now, I'm not going to show the whole thing because I don't want any problems with ScrewTube. I don't think it can be shown, but I just want you all to see the poor children as they sit there chanting, "Take him out, blow him up." And Jerron said the church is teaching violence. Well, yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Not only are they teaching violence, they're teaching the children to cheer for it. Just like people did back in the Jim Crow era when they would see people who look like me being lynched, they would bring their children to watch and to gloat. Okay? I mean, this is really nothing new, but it's an issue nonetheless. Okay, so let's go to the footage. As I said, I'm not going to show this whole thing when they start shooting off. I'm not going to show that part, okay? And then we're going to hear what the pastor has to say about all of this, as well as a couple of news reports. Now, this video was posted to Reddit. Now, as you can see, the guy in military fatigues, and that is an air rifle, they say. But there's the children. And as I said, they were all chanting. Now, let's just see what the news has to say about this. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I mean, do you all think this is problematic? Because I clearly do. This should not have been done with children there. I mean, it just wasn't a good idea, in my opinion. It just wasn't, because if the children are being taught that, you can go and execute the devil because the devil is bad, who knows how they might perceive that if a person is bad. Okay, I mean, you can see these children are very young. They look like elementary school. Okay, elementary school age.
A Lexington pastor is defending a controversial vacation Bible school skit that sparked thousands of reactions online. The viral video appears to show a simulated execution in front of children, but the church says it was meant to symbolize the defeat of evil. Pastor Dwayne Walker of Mount Olivet Baptist Church says the skit was part of a long-standing Commandos for Christ theme used during Vacation Bible School. Walker says the church has used similar good versus evil lessons for more than 30 years to teach children about Christian values.
You may think we went over the top. You may think it was a little bit extreme, and maybe you're right. But don't you believe that the devil is really using extreme measures in this generation? The amount of evil and scams and sorry things that are happening to people that are innocent in many cases. by people that are broken? Isn't that extreme?
Now, the video has drawn criticism from some, including a volunteer with the Kentucky chapter of Moms Demand Action, who called it inappropriate for a children's event. Walker says the clip lacks context, apologized to anyone who was offended, and invited critics to visit the church and learn more about its ministry. Now, links to the viral video, along with the pastor's full response, can be found in this story on fox56news.com.
And I think something that is important to note, I think something that is important to note is that the devil looked like he was wearing a hoodie and had braids. Okay, that's what I noticed, that the devil appeared to be wearing a hoodie and had braids. Okay, hold on, I'm going to this next news clip. Praise the Lord, pass the ammunition, they say. This is all so nefarious. Let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
A video of the skit widely shared online shows church staff dressed in camouflage walking through the sanctuary with airsoft rifles.
I myself was traumatized thinking about all these children who witnessed this enactment of violence.
Reverend Leah Shade says she initially thought the video was AI generated, but it's real. And as it gained traction online, Mount Olivet Baptist Church pastor Dwayne Walker responded to the backlash in his own video.
It was nothing more than a small part of our Vacation Bible School. The clip you saw was simply killing the devil.
Walker apologized to those he offended, but stood by the skit, saying the church has used characters to portray good and evil during Vacation Bible School for more than 30 years.
Now, you may not like how we did it, but understand, we're painting a real picture to kids visibly.
Shade called the skit a spectacle and worries the viral video could push some families away from church altogether.
It was traumatizing for me to watch, and I think it was potentially traumatizing to those children as well.
Okay, I mean, that was just nefarious, okay? That was just real crazy. Denise said they should have been warned first. Okay, now he also went on TMZ to defend the skit. D Major said nasty work. Okay, now let's go to his TMZ video. Hold on, let me put an overlay on this.
And a good day to you, my friends. And just a thought from the pastor study. I want to address this firestorm concerning the clip that's been sent, I guess, everywhere. I'm quite frankly befuddled. The misinformation out there it's sad. And I guess it's a part of what this generation has become. And concerning the clip that has been shared, it was nothing more than a small part of our Vacation Bible School. For 32 years, Vacation Bible School, we have characters every year that represent good and right and God. And we have characters that represent evil and wrong and that which should be avoided. We every year, through skits and songs and games and just a lot of fun, we make church a fun place, a happy place, a place where we hate sin, but we love the sinner. A place where we exalt Jesus and we hate the devil. I think you'd be in agreement that we shouldn't love the devil. I think we're all in agreement that there's such a thing as spiritual warfare, a battle going on behind the scenes that we can't see with physical eyes. We here have a very serious addiction ministry, have for years. reaching those that have been broken by drugs and alcohol, some horrible addiction that's taken from them everything that's good. And we welcome them to come, and we give them the truth that Jesus loves them, that the devil does hate them. They can be forgiven, can get a new life, can start over. And it's been one of the themes of our church. I think of how many times I've visited a jail, and I leave there heartbroken over what sin and Satan has done to that poor person, and pray that, God, I pray they let you change their life. And every year for 32 years, we've had this evil against good in our Vacation Bible School. The last several years, we've had the Commandos for Christ that has the gospel gun. It's the answer for the devil, the gospel and the word of God. It's the answer. The clip you saw was simply killing the devil. And I'll be honest with you, if I could kill the devil every day and raise him up and kill him again, I'd do it. He's the one we hate. We are not allowed by God to hate anybody else, not even our enemies. And that's all that clip was. Now, you may not like how we did it. You may not like we used those air rifles. They're basically paintball guns. And maybe you're right, maybe we're wrong.
I am so done with him. Okay, is he serious? Is he serious? Sorry about that, Marie. Marie, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so, that was just a bad idea. Like I said, he is teaching hate. And what if the children perceive a person as being a devil? Okay. What if they're watching some movie or something on TV and they just get the wrong idea? I just don't think that was something that should have been done. All right, please make it all make sense. He should have just come out and apologized and admitted that he was at fault, and that maybe it just wasn't a good idea. I don't know what I was thinking. It's what he should have said, but he doubled down. He doubled down and basically said, if y'all are offended, just too bad, because we kill the devil here at our church. This is what we do. Scott said it's the Church of Charles Bronson. I'm so through. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. That's what he had to say about it. Okay, so now with that being said, let's talk about Carmelo Anthony and these lies that are being spewed. Now, you all remember a few days ago, maybe about a week ago, I showed you all this post from Justin Moore that someone did a TikTok video about, basically saying that it was one of Carmelo Anthony's new pro bono attorneys. And it wasn't, and I showed you all that it wasn't, and I went to his social media and showed you all his real social media, so that post was not one of the attorneys of Carmelo, and it's fake. Now, I'm sure that everybody should know that by now, or at least most people should know that by now, but there's a channel on YouTube with people who don't look like me, and they're using that to just, paint a narrative. And the title of their video, if I'm not mistaken, is Using Racism for Personal Gain. Okay, and I went through there and I was reading the comments, and they just really are just putting this lie out there, acting as though one of Carmelo's own attorneys tried to accuse his parents of basically using racism for personal gain. Okay, that's all lies and BS. But this is what devils are doing. Not only that, they're now trying to say that Carmelo's parents have abandoned him because they supposedly moved back to Louisiana. That's where they were initially from. So they're saying that he's been abandoned, but that's not the case. They have gone to visit him, and I reported that to you all last week. Okay, but so let's talk about it, because Carmelo is actually in protective custody. Okay, I didn't know that. But following his conviction in the fatal stabbing of a rival athletes, I want you all to listen to how they paint this. Fatal stabbing of a rival athletes? They weren't rivals, were they? But anyway, they go on to say that due to the high-profile nature of his case, he is isolated from the general prison population to ensure his safety. Okay. Now, as it pertains to the legal process, let's talk about that, because a group of the elite pro bono civil rights and criminal defense lawyers led by prominent attorney Lee Merritt officially took over the case in late June. Now, because Anthony's trial team filed a notice of appeal within 24 hours of the verdict, the new appellate team has bypassed the immediate risk of missing filing windows. Okay, so the team is conducting an independent review of the entire trial record. Their primary goal is to identify constitutional, legal, or factual errors made during the trial, specifically focusing on how the court handled Anthony's self-defense claims. So on June the 9th, Anthony was transferred from local sheriff's custody to the Wallace Pack Unit, a state prison facility near Navasota, Texas, where he was immediately placed in protective custody. July through August of 2026, this is when the official court transcripts and case records, they're now being compiled, and they expect that they should be done around this time, somewhere in July, between July and August. Now, they say legal experts expect the transcripts may not be fully finalized and ready for the defense until late August of 2026. And then late 2026 through 2027, they say once the records are ready, the court will issue a strict briefing schedule. Now, the defense will file its comprehensive appellate brief, followed by a counter brief from the prosecution. They say legal experts estimate that the entire review process through the courts or the Texas Court of Appeals will take anywhere from 18 months to potentially several years to fully resolve. Now, Anthony will remain incarcerated throughout this period. Okay, now, his original defense team initiated the notice immediately after the verdict. The actual appellate brief, the comprehensive legal document outlining the arguments to overturn the conviction, has not yet been filed. Okay? And then they go on to talk about the legal grounds, which I think I told you all this before. The first was the notice of appeal, which has already been filed. And then the appellate brief has not yet been filed. And they're waiting on these trial transcripts. So they say by law, an appellate brief cannot be written nor filed until the court reporters finish compiling the massive written transcripts of the 7-day trial. Because of the trial size, these records are not expected to be finalized to the defense until late August. Well, here's the thing. What are they talking about? Massive written transcripts. First of all, the trial only lasted a week. Okay, so I don't see why it would take so long. Now, that's just my opinion. Okay, that really doesn't make any sense to me that it would take months just for the transcripts to be finalized. There should have been a whole lot of transcripts. And like I told you guys, when we went to Diddy's trial, we were getting the transcripts every day. And they're also talking about the ruling on the unsealed evidence and the body cam footage that the lawyers are reviewing. And the jury selection controversies, this is all something that's going to be added in there, as well as a motion for a new trial. And this is why the team might, this is what the team might file first, they say. So hold on just a second, beloveds. So they have the issue of the Batson challenge. Then they have the conflict. Now, they say with the prosecutors using their preemptory strikes to eliminate the final 3 remaining Black prospective jurors. They say there was a pool of more than 500 potential jurors. And the final 12-person jury contained 0 Black jurors. Did you all know there were 500 potential jurors? Because I didn't realize there were that many. I thought maybe 200 or 300 at best. So the state's defense, they say the prosecutors argued they struck the jurors because they were school teachers and educators of school-age children, claiming a profession-neutral reason. Okay, State District Judge Angela Tucker accepted this defense. So the new team planned to argue this. They plan to argue this reason was a pretext for racial discrimination. They're auditing whether non-Black educators were allowed to remain on the jury panel while Black educators were systematically excluded. Now, because that is the case, they have said that there was a white woman who was an educator and she was not taken off of the jury. So that is the issue. And I also want to tell you all how last night I was in this TikTok live, and there was this woman. She wouldn't tell people where she was from, but clearly to me, she had an Asian accent. And when people were asking her, well, where are you from? Because she didn't have her, of course, her face wasn't on the screen. But when people were asking her where she was from, she said, what difference does that make? But I'm going to tell you all what she was saying. She got up there on the panel trying to scold Black people, okay, trying to chastise Black people. Now, I was in the audience listening, in the chat. I wasn't on the panel, but when I heard the stuff she was saying, I had to get on the panel, okay, and just let her know, because she was up there saying, oh, it's funny that, Black people don't care about all of the killings that happened over Juneteenth weekend in Chicago. It's funny that they don't say anything about what goes on in their communities. It's only when a non-Black person kills a Black person that Black people get upset and even have anything to say. She was talking about the Rick Chow verdict. Now, mind you, the panel was about Karmelo Anthony, and that's why I further know that she was Asian. Okay, and that's why she didn't want to say who she was, because she already knows what the tensions going on because of the banning of them. So, anywho, I got up there and I said this. I said, first of all, and she also tried to say that she lived in our community, so she knows about how we carry on and all of that. So I told her, whether you live in our community or not, and I don't believe that you do, but even if so, that doesn't make you an expert on Black people. Second of all, who do you think you are to get up here and try to chastise us, okay, about what we do and what we think? She said that basically we were making excuses for a murderer. And she said that Karmelo Anthony savagely drove that knife into Austin's chest. Now, I don't know where she got that from. And when I asked her, she basically said it was from the autopsy report. But where did you see the autopsy report, ma'am? Because the autopsy report has not even been released. Then she went on to say, oh, well, I listened to the trial. Well, guess what? I listened to it too. And I didn't hear them saying anything about them driving or him driving a knife viciously into his chest. If he had done that, the wound would not have been 2.5 inches when the knife was 3.5. So make that make sense. Okay, so this really annoyed me, and everybody was like, her name was Luna, and there were a bunch of people on the panel like going in on her and asking her different questions or whatever. And I just didn't like the fact that she was trying to talk about what happened in Chicago over Juneteenth weekend, and then and trying to act as though we don't care about Black people killing Black people in or even perpetuating crimes on other Black people in our communities. And like I told her, I said, that's not even true. We do care about that. We talk about it. We have organizations come to our communities. We've had rappers like T.I. try to, close the divide, trying to bring gang members together so they stop rivaling amongst themselves. And also, I was sure to tell her that for years in Chicago, they have been telling us, the Black people have been telling us that there are people, white people, going around in derrick suits. Do you all remember me reporting on this extensively? How these people have been going around in derrick suits and basically acting as though they're Black and committing crimes against Black people? For example, shootouts. Do you all remember a few years ago when there was drive-by shootings and there was like 72 Black people killed in Chicago? Y'all really think that's gang activity? When in the hell have gangs ever done that? Okay, that's a mass shooting. There were so many people shot that they couldn't even take them all to the same hospital. And these people said, the Black people there said, that it was people in derrick masks. And I believe it. But they also reported, yes, absolutely. Okay, absolutely, Diane. And then they also have reported finding crates full of guns in Chicago neighborhoods, not just regular guns, all sorts of exotic guns. Okay, why are they leaving guns in these neighborhoods? Well, so that the people get them and start killing each other. That's what that's all about. Not to mention, a Black person found a few years ago a rocket launcher in a Chicago neighborhood. They went and turned it into the police. Now, if they were nefarious as they want to paint it, then they could have just kept that and used it against somebody, right? But they took it and turned it in. How did a rocket launcher get dropped off in a Black neighborhood in Chicago? Please make that make sense. But see, people like Luna speak of things that they don't even know. And that's what I told her. You don't even know what you're talking about, but you want to come in here and scold us? And then she said, well, my people, me and my people, this is what she said. Me and my people, we're honest. We're not out here committing crimes. But you can't even tell us who your people are. So it is just the nerve of it all for me. Okay, it is the nerve of it all for me. And like I also mentioned that Black on black crime is propaganda that's being spewed. All races commit crimes amongst themselves, and that's just a fact. Then I went on to give her the percentages according to statistics and all of that. Okay, but that just really ticked me off because, lady, mind your business. And I don't understand why the MAGA millions are still so upset and mad and butthurt and going around to black channels and coming in black spaces trying to tell us what we should be thinking and what we should or shouldn't be saying. Because at the end of the day, Karmelo is in prison just like they wanted him to be. Now, however we feel about it, and that's another thing, she was really trying to say, oh, you all are making excuses. You all just need to be honest. You all need to be honest and admit that it was murder. Well, first, and then she said how the courts had convicted him of murder and what the witnesses said, how they told him to leave 15 times. But then when people told her that, and this other guy who was up there talking, this white guy, when they were telling them both that according to the videos that have now been released, nobody told him anything 15 times because what we all saw was Austin, Hunter, and their friends walk straight up the middle of those bleachers and instantly confront Karmelo. So when, and it happened so quick. So when did they have time to tell him 15 times to leave? And also, I want to point out that how do we know the witnesses lied? Well, first of all, we know they lied because they gave conflicting testimony as opposed to what they gave the detectives during their statements, right? But here's the thing. They didn't say anything, the witnesses, that is, when they testified, none of them said anything about 4 people walking up to Karmelo, okay, and surrounding him as he sat there. They didn't say anything about his bag being thrown, which Hunter and Jeff Metcalf admitted to. Okay, they didn't say anything about the fact that if you look at the video, you can tell Karmelo was absolutely surrounded because you can't even see him. And the white guy that was on the panel talking trash, he even said, he said, I couldn't even see Karmelo. He was wearing like a white hoodie or something. We told him no, it was gray, but he said he couldn't even see him. Well, you couldn't see him because he was surrounded. You couldn't see him because he was surrounded by 4 thugs. Okay, who came there looking for trouble. Not him. He wasn't the one looking for trouble, but they were. And then there was a Karen who got up there and she starts talking about how she was going to the store the other day with her elderly mother and some black woman bumped into her and she went up to the woman and asked the woman to say, excuse me, and the woman wouldn't do so. So she and the woman got into a fight. Then she says the woman's friend jumped in it because Karen claims she was beating the black woman's butt. And so another black woman jumped in to help. And then she talked about I dog walked her up and down the sidewalk. She said, but all she had to do was say, excuse me. So then someone on the panel asked her, well, why didn't you just walk away? Because this is the same Karen who was saying that Karmelo Anthony should have just gotten up and walked away. So they asked her, well, ma'am, when the lady bumped into you and refused to say, excuse me, why didn't you just walk away? She said, I couldn't walk away. Well, how come you couldn't? I'm sure there was plenty of room in that store. But she made excuses as to why she couldn't walk away. And so I said, but you have allowances for yourself and justification for yourself as to why you couldn't leave. But you are upset that Karmelo Anthony didn't just get up and leave. Like, make that make sense. And I said, also, why did you feel the need to tell us that the woman who you got into it with was black? Because didn't y'all say don't make it about race? And I told her, and quite frankly, I don't believe your story anyway. You really, she said this black woman was the baddest woman in town. Everybody was scared of her. Nobody ever beat her behind before, but she did. Karen, please sit down with this fantasy. Okay, this sounds like a whole fairy tale that she made up. So anyway, these people are something else. And another thing the witnesses didn't say as they testified is to the punches that were thrown. But we did see punches being thrown, right? Didn't we see that in the videos? There were clearly punches being thrown. There were several people throwing punches. None of the witnesses testified to that. So this is how you know the witnesses all lied. Okay, I don't care what anyone says, they all lied. All right, even if some of them only lied by admission, but that's still lying. You're not telling the whole full story. You're painting a narrative. Okay, so they didn't want to hear this. Also, how was Karmelo the aggressor when every one of the witnesses did say that he was seated, the whole time? He's seated the whole time, but Austin, Hunter, Luke, and the other guy, they were not seated. So how was he the aggressor again? Okay? So even if you tell a half truth equals a whole lie. And that's just facts. Okay, that's just facts. A half truth equals a whole lie. And also, one more thing I want to say before I move on to the next topic is that Mike Howard, Karmelo's previous attorney, when he spoke to TMZ, remember how he said that Karmelo didn't testify? And he said that initially the choice was up to him. So he tried to frame it as though Karmelo didn't want to testify, but in fact, Karmelo did want to testify from what I was told, and that he was told not to by Mike Howard, that it wasn't a good idea. So, of course, he listened and trusted and believed in his attorney. So for Mike Howard to now come out and try to say, oh, I think he has remorse, and the initial decision for him to testify was up to him, as if to try to act as though Karmelo just didn't want to testify, and as if you really aren't sure whether or not he had remorse. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. This was a whole setup, and they know this young man was railroaded, and now they're concerned and pressed because they think that everything's going to come undone and that the truth's going to come out. And that's why the MAGA memes are going around here, stalking channels, getting in chats, trolling, and all of the above, and calling us, the N words and all these things. That's why. That's why they're doing all of this. Okay? I just find it all interesting. I find it all interesting. Greta says, I don't believe Mike Howard. I don't either. Okay, I don't either. But like I said, these people make allowances and excuses for themselves and their people, but they want to try to sit here and say we're the ones condoning murder. Nobody condoned murder. Nobody's glad that Austin is dead. Okay, I'm sure we all, including Karmelo, wish that he wasn't. But the fact of the matter is, Carmelo Anthony did not intentionally, because that's what murder is all about. It's about intention. Carmelo Anthony did not intentionally take Austin Metcalf's life, but he did have a right to defend himself when you had 3 or more assailants. So according to Texas doctrine, there were 4 of them who surrounded him. Okay? These people are something else. Queen C Pressure, that is my email that you just typed. At QueenAhmadiyyah Yeah, that's the email, beloved. QueenAhmadiyyah@gmail.com. Okay? Now, Brandy says they start mess and then get mad when Black people defend themselves. Exactly. Exactly. They want to have free reign to go around and attack Black folk, bully Black people, harass and all of this and obsess over us without us being able to say or do anything in return. And I find that very interesting. But anyway, we're going to talk more about this Asian boycott later on when I come back, okay? Because they're just engaged in all kinds of foolishness at this point, and it's really annoying. But we have to talk about it. And we also need to talk about some of these people who look like us but aren't us, and how they're sitting there trying to act like, oh, the Asians have good business and this, that, and the third. I mean, it's really sad, okay? I heard a Jamaican man talking about how the Asians are taking over Jamaica, and he was all for it. He was all for it, saying that they actually do better business than the Jamaicans. So turning on his own people. Now I find that crazy, because does he think that the Asians would turn on their people for Jamaicans? I don't think so. Okay, I don't think so. But just remember that raccoons come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. That's exactly what they do. Queen Sam says, I drove 15 miles out of the way and found me a Black-owned nail salon. Exactly. Okay, Vice Vance says there are lots of Chinese in Jamaica. Oh, I know there are. I know there are, and they even have resorts that the Jamaicans can't even go to. They're not allowed on certain parts of the beaches and all of these things. Okay, so absolutely. But for this Jamaican guy who's sitting up there, basically condoning what's going on and talking down on his own people, I just thought that was kind of crazy. And, mind you, these are some of the same people that are over here in the U.S. talking down on us for boycotting them. So anyway, like I said, we're going to talk more about that later. Okay, but for now, let's go to this video, Banking While Black. because this black woman went into a bank to cash a cashier's check. Okay. That was written by this bank and they didn't want to cash it. Okay, so likes up, everyone. Please like and share. We're going to get into it. And shout out to Quanell X because he's the one who interviewed this woman. So I overlay because I don't have permission to use this video. But I think it's very interesting that these people didn't want to cash a check that they literally wrote. Okay, this is one of their checks. And so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Oh, and by the way, the video that I did yesterday about the Haitians blaming us for TPS being taken away, I did a TikTok about that, right? And there were so many Haitians just in the comments going in on me saying, oh, this is a lie. Nobody's saying this. Nobody's blaming y'all. Matter of fact, hold on a second. I'm going to play the TikTok. But yeah, they're saying nobody's saying this. At the end of the day, didn't I show you all the videos of them saying this stuff? But now they want to play dumb. They want to sit here and act like their own people aren't saying this. But here's the thing. Just like they found my video, because it was likely on their For You page, you don't think that they've seen the videos of their own people saying these things about African Americans? Now they want to play dumb. Okay, now they want to sit here and act like I'm just making this up and telling me I'm causing a divide. I'm sorry. Didn't they come out going in on us first? I want you all to pay attention to how these people flip the script. Everybody wants to dog pile up on Black people. And the minute we say something in our own defense, then they get an attitude. And now it's all about us being divisive. Please pay attention. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, I'm going to the video right now. Hold on. Yeah, they've been talking mad BS. They absolutely have. So the Haitians are upset with FBA, also known as Black Americans, because they're losing their temporary protected status. But we don't have anything to do with it. So let's get into it. I'm just curious as to why they're blaming us and saying that them being deported is our fault. We have nothing to do with it. We don't have any control over who gets deported and who gets allowed to stay. And then for some of them coming on here talking greasy, saying that we're all on welfare, that we're lazy, we live in the projects, and all of these disparaging things. Okay, I find that all very interesting because if it wasn't for us and our ancestors who fought for civil rights and all of the liberties and freedoms that we have fought for, you all wouldn't even have been able to come here in the first place. Okay, please pay attention. I ain't just coming out here talking real greasy, okay? Saying that we're afraid of them because of the voodoo and that they have gangs and all these things. First of all, having gangs is nothing to brag on, but we have gangs too. But also voodoo, why would we be concerned about that? It's not like we don't know voodoo as well. Okay, some of us call it roots. Okay, please pay attention. It's basically the same thing. I mean, they have all of this smoke for FBA, but they're not saying anything about Trump, Tom Homan, the border czar, or Stephen Miller. This was all they're doing. This is their idea. And they haven't even said one word about Megyn Kelly and that racist rant that she went on, just dragging them for filth just a few days ago. Okay, the only one I heard address that was Roland Martin. Okay, he stood up for his people, but I haven't heard them say anything. They're just choosing to go in on us, and I quite frankly think it's just displaced anger. Like I said, please pay attention. I mean, and then one of them said that all throughout the world, people think that we're the most ignorant and the idiots and all of that. Well, I'll have you know that the women who look like me in this country are one of the most educated groups. So there's that. And we're not all lazy. There's lazy people amongst every group. So for them to be sitting here saying that we love massa, but yet they're the ones using and spewing massa's talking points and foolish racial stereotypes about people of my own lineage, I find that very interesting. Okay, it's like totally crazy to me, but still you want to drag us but are not saying anything about the people who are the real problem. Okay, please pay attention. I mean, it was Trump himself who said that Haiti was a shithole country, and then it was JD Vance who lied and said that you all eat cats and dogs. But y'all are mad at us, and I just don't get it because it seems like a whole lot of projection. Maybe you're afraid to say something about what they've done or said, but so you just want to use us, as the scapegoat. But it's absolutely so ridiculous and sad. Please pay attention. And they didn't say anything about the fact that Bill and Hillary Clinton collected all of those funds, okay, and then only built about 6 houses over there in Haiti, not to mention the Caucasian woman who tried to escape Haiti with 33 Haitian children, and then she was caught and arrested, and Bill and Hillary came over there to speak for her, to vouch for her. Didn't say anything about that, but we're the problem. Make it all make sense. All I'm saying is just put the blame where it lies. Don't sit here and blame FBA, because we're not the ones that are the issue for you. Your problem is a system known as white supremacy, okay? And we didn't build it, and we are not the ones who can tear it down. Only the people who put that together can tear it down, and it doesn't look like they're going to be doing so anytime soon. And so it is that system that wants you deported from this country, because they want the majority of people here to look like them. And I'm sorry, but don't you all mostly look like us? And so please pay attention. So when you're out in the streets and the police are looking at you, if you get pulled over, whatever, at a traffic stop, they're going to just basically liken you to one of us. Okay, they're not going to be worried about whether you're Haitian, African, Jamaican, or whatever, but they're just going to lump us all in the same category. So let's stop trying to make it our fault that these people want you all out of the country. Okay, so they can bring in more people who look like them. We have absolutely nothing to do with that, and we're never the problem. Okay, please pay attention. Then for some of you to do videos asking Donald Trump to deport us, that's hilarious, because he could never. He can't send us anywhere. We're indigenous to this country. You see, all of us didn't come from Africa. This land, formerly known as Turtle Island, some of us are absolutely indigenous to it. Okay, so please pay attention. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. So the Haitians are upset with Okay, so make it all make sense. And then they're sitting there acting like nobody made the videos that I showed you all yesterday, like they haven't seen them. Of course, you've seen them. If my video, like I said, if my video popped up, I'm sure the other ones did too. Okay, Ace Thunder says against us getting reparations, but leave crates or leave creates. So here's the thing. They are against us getting reparations, some of them. And here's the thing. If they don't have a dog in the fight, why are they even speaking on us getting reparations? That's what I don't get. All of these people that sit there and say, even the Hispanics, because you all remember a couple of years ago, they were really going hard in the paint and saying they deserved reparations. I'm sorry, but for what? Okay? All of these people that are talking against us getting reparations, why are they even bothered or concerned about it? Like, mind your own business and let us mind ours. Ace, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved, and your insight to the topic. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay? So anyway, like I said, honey, they were going in on the poor little old queen. All I was trying to do was a TikTok. Okay? Now let's get into it. We're going to go to this video of this poor woman who she was a real estate broker, and she had a check. I think the check was like maybe $26,000 or something like that, but I guess they think that Black people have no business ever having a check that's $26,000. Okay, it immediately arouses suspicion, even when the check came from their own bank. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And then another thing I want to point out too, that some of the Haitians are saying that America isn't our home. See, that's how you know they want us to be able to be deported. They really wish that we also could be deported. That's what that is. Because what are they talking about? This isn't our home. I'm sorry, make that make sense.
People are treated like criminals for doing one thing, banking while Black. We have a story today of a beautiful African-American female who was absolutely mistreated, disrespected, and suffered serious discriminatory practices by this bank. Solely from what we believe in our investigation was because she was banking while Black. My sister, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell the viewing audience across the country and around the world exactly what happened to you. Take us from the top. Well, state your name first.
My name is Toya Malvo, and I am a real estate broker.
Miss Malvo, tell us from the beginning what happened here.
I received a commission check fairly large, a little over $28,000. At the time, I was with a different brokerage. I was not on my own just yet. And I took that check to the bank that the brokerage was banking with to cash it. And the branch manager explained to me that they did not have the full $28,000, but that she can give me $2,000 of the money. And so she suggested that I take the remainder of the check to my bank to negotiate it. So she gave me $2,000 in cash and then gave me a cashier's check of around $26,000. I took it to my bank, and my bank wanted to put a 7 to 10 day hold on it. However, I had bills to pay and I couldn't wait 7 to 10 days. So my bank suggested I take it back to Stellar Bank, to be exact. And I took it back to the same branch. And that branch manager explained to me again that she could not give me this time the full $26,000, but that she can give me another $3,000.
Hold on, beloveds. A says crates as in weapons. They know poverty hurts us. Okay, that's what I thought you were trying to say was crates, beloved, but I still didn't get the context. Okay, so thank you. So you're saying crates as in the weapons. Exactly. Okay, exactly. And thank you for clarifying that and also for your contribution. I appreciate you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, Marie James says, what kind of bank? Hold on. Let me pull that back up. What kind of bank doesn't have $28,000? Well, I'll tell you what, they sure don't want to give you that kind of cash on a moment's notice. They definitely don't want to do that. Okay, they want you to wait a few days or give them some. They'll sometimes say you should have given them advance notice. Okay, I mean, I find it all very interesting, especially when it's your own money. Why should you have to wait? Please pay attention.
And I asked her, are you sure there's no way that you can cash this check in full? And she said, I cannot, but I see that your office is located in Katy, Texas. We have a larger branch there. You could take it there and they'll be able to honor the check in full. So this particular weekend was Halloween weekend. And so that following week, I did drive to Houston as instructed by the Stellar Bank manager in Dallas. I took it to their branch location in Katy. I have cash checks at this particular location. And the teller there was very familiar with me when I walked in. She greeted me. She took my 2 forms of identification, which is what is required for non-customers. I was a non-customer of the bank. I was a non-client, I'm sorry. I was a non-client of the bank. I was a customer. And so she looked at the check.
Want to lose weight without losing muscle? Factor got me there. I was tired of all the cutting and bulking cycles.
And the teller told me, we do have this. She took my identification. She went to the back. And at that point, another teller that was standing next to her went to the back. This time she came out with my identification and the check. She walked to the branch manager's office and then walked out within a minute or two and asked me, where did you get this from? And I told her, I said, it's right there on the check. I got it from your Dallas location. She said, well, who gave it to you? And I said, the branch manager, Jamie, gave it to me. And I do have her business card. And so the teller walked off. She walked to the branch manager's office. And then they asked me to have a seat in the lobby area. I sat for maybe 5 minutes, and then I was called to his office, the branch manager.
What was the race of these bank tellers?
The bank teller that knew me and was familiar with me, she is Caucasian. And then the other bank teller, which is the one that took my identification and the check from her, she is of Hispanic descent.
Okay, and what was the race of the branch manager?
Hispanic as well.
Go right ahead. We're listening. Bring us. Keep going.
As I walked into his office, he sat there. He never greeted me, and he asked me to take a seat and pointed. And as I sat down, he said, so here's the deal. I called the branch in Dallas, and they've cashed this check for you 2 times already. And so he took his 2 fingers and slid the check over to me. He said, you can take this somewhere else and negotiate it because I'm not obligated to cash it for you. And I was a little taken aback by his demeanor. He was very hostile in his body language and his facial expression. And I asked him, is there a reason why? He said, I don't need a reason why. I do not have to I'm not obligated to cash this for you.
And what bank was this? Because we want the world to know.
This was Stellar Bank in Katy, Texas, off of West Green.
Go right ahead.
And so I told him, I said, well, would it be okay, since you've already verified it with your Dallas branch that they are the ones that gave me this cashier's check? It is in the name of your bank to me, which means you guys, this is your promise to negotiate it, right? But I want to take it a step further. Could I please call my brokerage so that they can verify with you that I am who I said that I am? He said, I'm not going to do that. And at this point, I started crying because I knew exactly what it was. It was because I was Black.
Mm-hmm.
I had presented all proper identification. Not once did he express that there was an issue with the legitimacy of the check. He had called his Dallas branch and confirmed that they had given it to me. So there was no justification in him denying cashing a cashier's check. This was not a personal check. But he told me he was not going to give me a reason. So I got my superior at my then brokerage over the phone. I explained to her what was happening. She's Caucasian as well. And she asked me to give him the phone. When I motioned to give him the phone, he kept his hands closed and told me he wasn't going to take the phone from me. And so she asked me, the superior for my brokerage, she said, Miss Toya, because that's what she refers to me as. She said, stay right where you are. I will call the bank directly. You stay on my phone. I will call them from the office phone. So I can hear what she's saying because I'm still on her cell line. So she calls and they ring his office. I'm still sitting in front of his desk. And as he picks up the line, he puts it on hold. He told me, you can leave now. So I stood up. And as I stood up, I walked to the reception area and I sat down, and I can hear everything that she's saying to him, but I cannot hear what he is saying to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she introduces herself to him over the phone, and she says, I understand that I have one of my top producing agents at your bank. And for whatever reason, you all are not wanting to cash her check. Can I go ahead and verify the check? And then she pauses, and then I hear her ask him, why not? We are always able to verify checks for agents that cash checks that are not clients of yours. And then she pauses again and she tells him somewhere along these lines, well, I'm wondering what the real reason is, because we have another agent that just came in and cashed the check who is not a client there, and his check was over $10,000. So that cannot be the reason why you're not cashing it. So my further understanding once I talked to her was that he was telling her it's because the check was over $10,000. That couldn't have been true because I had cash checks there over $10,000. And another agent from our office had cash checks there, multiple agents who were not clients there. And so after a bit of back and forth, she told me, Ms. Toya, we are making calls to people with corporate because if this is how they are going to treat one of our top agents, maybe we need to reconsider doing business with them. Sit tight. We will see what we can do. As I'm sitting there, a police officer showed up. I was never approached by the police officer. I want to make that very clear. I was never approached by the police officer, but he did arrive and he stood in the doorway. They had another officer that was already there, as most banks do. They have officers around, but there was already an officer there. An additional officer showed up and just stood at the doorway. At this point, I felt very uncomfortable. I left from the building and went into my car and sat in my car in front of the bank and cried because I felt like I was dreaming. It didn't feel real.
And you were only guilty of being a Black woman with a cashier's check that they felt was too much money for a Black woman to have.
Absolutely.
That no Black woman could be working in the field that you're working in and have a check of that size. This must be fraud. This must be theft. She must be playing a con game strictly because you're a Black woman at Stellar Bank doing what all banking customers do. You've cashed other big checks there in the past, but for them to treat you like you were a common criminal, and you are a law-abiding citizen, a stand-up citizen, a great professional, and one of the leading people in your industry, for them to treat you like that and give you no legitimate reason whatsoever except, hey, look, You're not welcome here. That's a disgrace. That's a slap in the face. But it gets better. Tell us the other part.
Okay. So after being at Stellar Bank for 2 hours and practically pleading with the branch manager to please cash my check.
If you got hit, even as a passenger or in an Uber, you would need to try this. Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000. If you're looking to get money you're owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get that money you're owed in the next 30 days. Now, if you've thought about hiring an attorney before, but you didn't because you were unsure or you had reservations, it's not your fault. You were probably given no guidance and couldn't get a straight answer out of anyone about how much money you could actually make. I want you to capitalize on a limited opportunity that can have you cashing out a massive check in the next 30 days.
My superior from my brokerage asked me to come over to the office and meet with her. And at this point, I drove to the office, which is maybe 5 minutes around the corner. Now, prior to me driving there, she did offer multiple options to the banking manager to try and remedy the situation, with one of them being that the bank should void the check that I brought in and that my brokerage would cut a new check to me. I can pick it up from them around the corner and bring it to the bank. The branch manager told her no. So there were multiple options that were offered and he declined. So,
But it's my understanding that a white woman who works with you took that same check. Tell us what happened. Tell us that part.
So once I left the bank and I drove to my brokerage, my team lead there sat me down in her office and told me that she had spoken with the branch manager and that he had offered to give me $10,000 of my check. And I told her I would not take that because there was no reason for him not to cash the full check. So she asked me, would you like for me to come down to the bank with you and see if we can resolve this matter? I told her, please do. We drove to the bank, and as we arrived, or anything, she signed her name next to the account holder information. They told me, you sign next to her name. I signed, they handed me my cash. When they handed the cash, it was then that I waited to say what I said next. I looked at my team lead and I said, they never asked you for identification, not once, but they just allowed you to sign next to the account holder name. We've been in here all of maybe 5 minutes. What I tried to accomplish for 2 whole hours with proper identification, they never gave me a reason of why they would not.
Yes, ma'am.
So just so you all know, that is really, hold on. Nirvana said the angry Haitians doing voodoo on you. Honey, they can't, that doesn't work on me. Okay, but listen, she's now going to sue them, and as she should, because the fact that they didn't even ask the white woman for any form of ID, let alone two. And then she had to show her identification again when she went to the front. Now, I find that very interesting. That's how you know it's absolutely racism, okay? Because they should have asked both of them for ID to make sure that the white woman was who she said that she was. Okay, but let's continue because I want you all to hear what her attorney has to say. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Perspective of everything that's taking place with your client.
Absolutely. So it's such a convoluted story and it's so unfortunate. I just can't even believe that this happened. We're looking at UCC violations and banking violations, particularly as it relates to discrimination in banking practices. They have essentially breached contract in the negotiation of their own draft. We have to remember that initially, Ms. Malvo took her check to Stellar Bank, which was issued on another branch to cash. I mean, issued off a Stellar Bank for her to cash at Stellar, but she is not an account holder. That's why she didn't take it to her personal bank. They never once offered, instead of just, they gave her the couple $1,000s and issued her now a cashier's check. that is negotiable by their own institution. They never offered her.
And that cashier's check was from Stellar Bank.
Was from Stellar Bank.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So they never even offered her, because I know I've encountered it at times that in my branch sometimes doesn't have enough cash on hand. But they'll say, hey, Mrs. Vincent, it's okay.
Okay.
We can have this cash here tomorrow. Let's fill out the cash order. You can come back tomorrow, bring the check. Everything's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there, but I want you all to pay attention. A check drawn on their own bank. Okay, that's just like real crazy. They wouldn't cash it. But let me just tell you all something. Something similar happened to me years ago. Okay, so I had a check for some repairs to be done on my home. Okay, and so it was from my homeowner's insurance company. Now, mind you, I had to send the check to the mortgage company so that they could sign it. So they put their stamp on it. Now, the mortgage company, I believe, was in Utah. Okay, so they had to put their stamp on it. Long story short, I got it back, went to cash it at the bank it was drawn on, which was SunTrust Bank. And when I got there, the woman, the teller told me that she could not cash it. When I asked her why, she said, because my mortgage company needs to sign it. And I said, ma'am, as you can see right there, they put their sticker on it. She said, no, they have to physically come into the bank with you. I said, excuse me? You mean to tell me that someone from the mortgage company has to walk in here with me to cash this check, even though they have already put their seal on it? Okay, they've already signed it. What are you talking about? So yeah, that's what she said. So that was absolutely crazy. And I knew at that point that she was clearly lying. Okay, and so I saw a woman coming out of the office, right? So I asked her, I said, excuse me, ma'am, could you come and help me, please? And I told her what the woman said. And she said, that's absolutely not true. And she made the woman cash my check. Now, mind you, the bank manager, which is the person that I called as she was coming out of the office, was a Black woman. But this was a Karen who was telling me that I could not cash the check. And she did tell me that if I wasn't able to get the mortgage company to come in with me physically, then I could just go downtown, okay, and try to cash it at the other SunTrust Bank. Like trying to send me all around, like on a wild goose chase. Like, lady, sit down somewhere. Okay, so anyway, I ended up getting it cash. And, it was for a few $1,000s. Like I said, I was having some work done on my home that I filed for the damages through my homeowner's insurance. Okay, so they know that the check was absolutely legit. Okay, it was from the insurance company. So these are some of the things that they'll do. Okay, D Major said Stellar Bank doesn't sound so stellar. I have to agree. I have to agree. And the fact that she said she was about to cry, listen, when I understand that sometimes we get emotional, our feelings may feel hurt, or we may feel like, maybe sometimes you cry because you're angry, but Black people really need to stop crying, okay, when these things happen, okay, because it's giving weakness. What are you crying for? Wipe your tears and stand on business like she did. Okay, but just leave the tears out of it. There's no need to cry. We've been going through this since the beginning of time in this country. It's nothing new, so there's never a reason to cry. These people want to make you cry. They want to make you feel humiliated. They want to shame you and embarrass you and make you feel less than. That's why they do these things. Okay, so don't ever give them the ability to do so. Okay, so anyway, it's just all so crazy. But I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Delano said that she thought she was one of them. I don't know if she thought she was one of them, beloved, but I do think that maybe she was just so shocked and appalled that this was actually happening to her. Okay, but like I always tell you all, it could happen to any of us. It could happen to any of us. And I don't understand why some Black people seem to be so shocked and appalled when it happens to them. Okay, it could be any of us. If it happens to one, it could happen to any. That's just how I see it. Okay, that's right. Reggie said, or the satisfaction. Exactly. And Denise says, don't give them your power. Right. I would never shed a tear. Okay. Then they had the nerve to call in the police, which the police never confronted her. But nonetheless, they made their presence known. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Greta said, "What time is the next live, Queen?" When I come back, it will probably be around 6:30. Okay, so that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Remember, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, I will say, shout out to the replay gang. But the chat will not be included after I edit it, because I'm going to edit out that part where the lights went out. Okay. So Christopher says, keep doing real Black media news work coverage daily, Queen. You know that I will. Okay, you know that I will. Greta said, Queen never crying, just acting on it. Right. Well, here's the thing. Sometimes it's okay to cry, or at least to pretend to. Just act like the Karens do. Okay, weaponize your tears in some cases when the need arises. For example, if you're arguing with a Karen and the Karen's asking you why you're in a certain place, or who gave you permission to be there or whatever, and then Karen calls the cops on you, just sit there and start crying and play the victim, because that's really what you are. And let them know that Karen was harassing you. Start weaponizing your tears just like the Karens do. But what I'm saying is, in these sorts of instances, do not cry. Stand on business, 10 toes down, okay? Y'all got that? All right. So anyway, I love you all to life. And I will be talking to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got